Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, get involved in the comments, subscribe if you're new and hit that bell and you'll never miss anything I do like this, the European Super League. Now I know it's a controversial subject these days. Now I know that because I've made European Super Leagues before, many years ago, for fun, because that's what this is, it's for fun, on YouTube. And then when the whole scandal in real life came about, obviously my old videos were maybe popping up for people, and I was getting a bit of abuse from random saying, oh, I bet you regret this now, don't you? Not really, no, because it's a game. Now, I just want to make a statement. I don't agree with it in reality. I don't want it to happen in real life, but this isn't real life. This is Football Manager, it's a computer game. And what I like to do sometimes, every now and again, if you know me, you know, I like to put things out there for you guys to try. Little save ideas, especially for people who don't really know the way around the editor, especially at this time of year as well, when maybe you're bored and you're looking for a different save, you fancy a couple of seasons, doing something random. Well, this could be the save for you, because it could also be a challenge in many, many ways. So yes, the European Super League. I've made one. It's took me weeks and weeks and weeks doing little bits of work here and there, lots of testing. I still don't think it's perfect. So I will release it on Steam eventually, but for now, I'm going to put a couple of save files down below along with the graphics if you want to check it out for yourself. But right now, we're going to look into it. First up, I'll explain a little bit about how I did it. So I picked a European nation, one that you wouldn't really miss, and this time I've chosen Andorra. I've changed the name of Andorra to Euro, keep it simple. I've changed the flag to a random European flag, and I've made a few little changes. They've got the European Superdome Stadium, which is pretty cool. It's got a retractable roof and all that, especially mainly for cup finals and the league, which I'll get into a little later on. I've got rid of all the Andorran competitions, awards and clubs, although the staff, the players, they'll stay the same. So I'm not bothered about it as a nation. I just needed a base of operations. Now to do this, I wanted to do something like real life, right? Firstly, I've changed the nickname. Apparently that is the Traitors in Spanish, right? We're in Andorra. It's quite close to Spain. But what I had to do is basically each club is playing a competition based in Andorra/Euro. They're still technically based in their own nations, so Man United in England, Bayern Munich, Germany, and so on. But their Continental Cup competition nation was set to Great Britain. Now, doing that bans them from playing in any European competition, because that's what I wanted to do. If this happened, they won't be able to play Champions League. So they can't play Champions League, they can't play the Europa League, they can't play in the conference. It's all about this new league system with lots of clubs going toe-to-toe. Now, talking of the clubs, a lot of it is basically using the in-game club reputations and a few little tweaks and preferences of my own. You may not agree with some of it, but this is just my personal choice. Now, I want to do something a bit different as well. Most leagues have an even number. I've decided to go for an odd number. I'm being different this time. I like to change things up. So we've got 25 teams. You should only be able to see 24, but we have 25 teams. Now I'm going to run through each club first and we'll look into each competition. Starting with Turkey. Now I know Turkey is technically not in Europe, but they play in European competition. I thought it'd be something different. You can go out there, get your teeth done, get a hair transplant, get a bum lift, whatever you want, and watch some football. So got some away days at Galatasaray. Next up, we have our one representative from Holland or the Netherlands, Ajax, in Amsterdam. Who doesn't like going to Amsterdam to smoke a doobie and to do other things, you dirty bugger? From Portugal, I've got two teams. FC Porto and Benfica. If you're a Lisbon fan, Sporting Lisbon fan, sorry, they were the top two ranked teams and I only had 2 spots for them. So that's why I chose them. Now, the next 2 teams I wanted to choose because I do have a massive following from Scotland and I have close ties to Scotland with my family. And these 2 clubs are massive and in a bigger league would be awesome. They've got the fan base, the stadium, and they've got great history. So of course I've chosen Rangers and Celtic. I mean, these 2 teams are cracking teams that you could probably take over for a real challenge within this league, try and get them to the top. Next, it's the French teams, and I've chosen 2 teams from France, of course. PSG, they had to be in it, and the next team is my favourite team really, from France. I do love a bit of Marseille. They're a bit dodgy, you can imagine them joining a European Super League, but I've always liked them from when I was young. I've seen them win the Champions League because I am that old, and Gattuso's a manager. Love that. Now on to the big 4 countries, starting with Germany, and we have FC Bayern, who would definitely never do this. in real life, but getting rid of Bayern out the Bundesliga might make it way more interesting. Same in France and the same in a few leagues, really. Got Borussia Dortmund, of course, who have just taken Sancho back. I don't rate him. I'm going to be interested to see how well he does there, though. We have Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen. And last but not least from Germany, Red Bull Leipzig, or Rasenball Sport. That little loophole they did. Yeah, Leipzig. Next up, it's the Italians. We've got 4 teams from Italy, starting with the current champions, Napoli. Juventus are next, a club who would definitely join the European Super League. I think they really want it, don't they? They're not even in European competition, are they? And that is one thing I've done. I will mention it now. All the teams that would have been in Europe have been taken out and replaced by the next team down from last year's tables in each division. So none of these clubs in the first season will be playing any European football. Never play it ever again. I love me some AC Milan. I do. They're in it along with their neighbours. Internazionale Milano. Inter Milan. That's to be done. I did consider Roma, although they just sacked Jose Mourinho. Can't believe that, mate. On to Spain and Barcelona. Of course, they want to join the European Super League because they're absolutely skint. We've got the kings of Europe, Real Madrid. Their cheeky next door neighbours, Club Atletico Madrid, and Sevilla. That's how I say it. Who have been great, haven't they, in Europe? Beat my team in a European final, so they deserve their spot in the European Super League. Next up, the English. And I've picked 5 teams for England because I'm English. And obviously, it's getting tough these days because there's a lot of big clubs. It's like the big 7, I'd say, nowadays. It's getting that way in the Premier League. But I've chosen 5, starting with Chelsea. We have Arsenal as well. Dirty, dirty Liverpool. Got to put Liverpool in it. Our noisy neighbours, the Tin Pots, the polished turd that is Manchester City. And of course, my club, Manchester United. Had to put United in. Looking forward to seeing what they can do. I'm not expecting a lot, I'll be honest with you. So of course, no European football ever again because they are in a European football league, but we have a league system with 25 teams. I've made a cup and a super cup where the league champion will play the cup champion at the start of every season. Pretty basic. But when I'm creating my leagues these days, I'm got quite bored with a standard league, and because this league is so big, I didn't want to do a first division and a second division. I wanted one big massive league. I love, and it's the NFL fan in me, maybe, I know, I love playoffs. I think it adds a bit of drama. It gives you something different. And it gives you a different way of thinking about the league. So it's not about winning this table. It's about getting in that top 10. So top 10 teams will go into a championship playoff for the title. So you can manage your squad the right way if you know you're good and get 10th and still become champions of the European Super League. Now each team will get 100 million a season roughly in television money and mega money for finishing in different positions. Obviously the money goes down the lower you finish, but it's a big money league. All the best players will hopefully come here. It's a lot of the biggest clubs in the world, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Making tons and tons of money. So it is a very rich league. Now I've not gone crazy with it. You can have 5 subs out of 11, and as you can see, because of this, no team. Now it does say one team qualifies for the Champions League, blah 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 blah, but all these clubs are excluded because they're based in Great Britain, which is technically not an actual nation, but it is within the game. So that's my little loophole to banning them. Maybe there's another way of doing it in advanced rules, but once you get into advanced rules, it starts getting complex. And I always worry with stuff that ban might get lifted. Like sometimes when I do a transfer ban in experiments, they can disappear. Or a club, they get a new owner and it disappears. So this locks it in. They cannot ever play in European football. But there's no foreigner rules, no nothing. You can just go to town. Standard transfer window rules as well. So we have the Euro Cup, which is basically like an FA Cup. And what I've done with the dates, just to keep it simple, is kind of mirror the Premier League. So the league will start roughly when the Premier League does. The Super Cup, which is basically the Community Shield, will be played the week before, like in England. But I've shortened the season a little bit, and there is a week off at Christmas as well, because you're going to have the playoffs, and then you've got a cup final if you get to the cup final as well. But yeah, the Euro Cup will start like around the time, early Jan, and it's 2-legged all the way to the final, which is just a one-off game. And then we've got the Euro Shield, which is, like I said, the Community Shield basically, and that won't be at the first season because obviously no one's won the league yet. It kicks in season 2, so that's it. That's all you got to play for, really, battling it out. But there's lots of ways you could do this. You could be a fan of one of these big teams, and it's just different than being in your standard league, because week in, week out, you're going to be playing Bayern Munich, Barcelona. You know what I mean? Massive clubs all the time. Plus, there's a few little ones in there. You know, you could be Ajax if you wanted. You could be one of the smaller German teams, Marseille. You could be Glasgow, Galatasaray, and really challenge yourself. But to not even it up, I needed to make it a bit fairer. I've kept mainly all the finances the same, apart from some of the smaller clubs. I've given a few extra million. I've given Barcelona, I've took them out of debt. One thing I've kept the same for everyone is they can all offer the maximum weekly wage, and they're all going to start with the same wage budget spare, but finances will vary. Man City have got like 300 million to spend or whatever. If you've got Rangers, you might get 80, 90 million. But over the years, that money should start coming in from the TV money, your gate receipt money, prize money, because you do get prize money for all the cup rounds and for winning certain things. And you could build a club, and that could be a good little challenge for you to take on for a few seasons if you're bored and looking for something new. Check the description, you'll find lots of stuff down there. This is a season preview to begin with. Man City, of course, the favourites. Got Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern. Man United down there in 9th. Who do they not fancy? Rangers, Celtic, Ajax. They're the challenge teams, but putting them all in the league gives you that media dream team 11, and apparently that'd be the best team. Where's Jude Bellingham? Jude Bellingham would be in that team for me, but then you got Rice, and there's some ballers in this league. And also, before I forget, I made it the best league in the world reputation wise, but we need to keep our eye on that as we jump forward, because I've learned something really that I've never noticed before. I thought that ranking system works a completely different way, but it doesn't. The slate is clean. They've all left their respective leagues and countries technically. The Super League has begun, so we're going to jump forward 10 years and look into it, see how it all went on, see who wins what, and look at a few extra little bits. And here we are on the 1st of July 2033. I've not seen a thing, but straight away I'm noticing Man United are the current champs. I'm liking that. They've won it every single year. I'm not biased. But my point was, look at the competition's reputation. It's now the 17th best league in the world, even though it's got the most money, the biggest clubs, the best players. It's 17th. Now, I always thought, I don't know what, I didn't really realise that reputation would probably go off the size of the clubs, the players in the league, stuff like that. You know, if it's a big league, it'd be great. But it must obviously go off European, how well these teams do in Europe, because it's crashed and burned. Reputation-wise, the league's still the same, but reputation-wise. So we've won it over the last 10 years. Got Liverpool, Barca, Real Madrid, Inter, Arsenal, and then Barca won it 3 times in a run. So they've been the most successful team. Barcelona, fair play. Inter and United. How have Man City never won it? They've been runners-up 3 times. Onto the Euro Cup. Real Madrid first 2, then PSG, City got 1, Barca, City, Sevilla. Check that out, Milan and Real Madrid. And then the Euro Shield, we've got Liverpool, Real Madrid, PSG, Inter, Arsenal, Barcelona, City, Barcelona, Inter. Barca have been pretty good. But of course, it's different, remember, because it's the playoffs. So just because Man United won the league this year, where did they actually finish? Second. Only, a point off Real Madrid, but they went on to win it in the playoffs. The year before, Inter Milan won it, but they finished 4th. I think Barcelona did their 3-peat, didn't they? But they were top, 2nd, and 5th. See, I like it like this. I know some people love just the standard league. You might be one of them people. But I think it had so much drama. Just to have the league as a tool to get into the playoffs. And then it's just all about the playoffs. When you're in there, it's fun then. It's just a knockout, 1-round competition, boom, 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 boom. And then the real champion gets crowned, I think, that way. Because, you've really got to be good in them playoffs. You've got to be consistent and just win consistent games. So, fair play to Barcelona. I think they're the only team that's finished top and won it so far. I mean, look, Inter were 7th. Real Madrid were 5th. City finished top a few times, haven't they? Barcelona 5th, Liverpool 4th. I like it. I like that system. You may not. And when I do eventually put it on Steam, you can change it up. So after filming, I thought to myself, why not put multiple save file options out there for you, at least until I can put this out on Steam and I'm happy with it. So if you check the description, you'll find 4 different save files. The first one will be what you're watching now, where it's the Playoff League and no European competition. The second file will be the Playoff League, but you can play in the Champions League and so on if you want to. The third save file will be a standard league, like the Premier League, where if you finish first, you win the league, but there's no European competition. And the fourth save file will be a standard league with European competition. So a nice spread for you, give you multiple options if you want to check them out. Now onto the awards, and I've only got a few. They don't all work sometimes. I figured that out when I did my subscriber league recently. And I've done it, I've figured it out before. Sometimes they just don't work. I've given up on doing monthly awards, so just pick the basic ones from the Premier League and copied a few. So we've got the Player of the Year, as you can see, a regen from Bayern. Looks pretty good. Bellingham a few times. And we also have the Golden Glove, Golden Boot, Manager of the Year. Okay. What else have we got? We've got Player of the Year, we've seen that. We've got Young Player of the Year. And we have Team of the Year, although I forgot to change it from 4-4-2. But I've got into 4-4-2 recently on my Curzon Ashton saves. If you've not checked that out, go and check it out. Low level English save that I'm having tons of fun with. It's a place to be on Football Manager. But can't we have a look at overall? What's the overall best team ever so far in the Super League? It's not a bad team, that is it? Phil Foden got in it. Yeah, it's not a bad team. Now, I haven't got all the other leagues running, but you can still look at who's been winning the leagues. And I want to look at a couple, especially the Premier League, because we've left Newcastle very rich behind and Spurs. And Spurs won the first couple, but then Newcastle have dominated with Spurs finishing runner-up. Them two have absolutely dominated. But in third place, you've got the Villas, Everton, Leeds, Brentford. I mean, it's made it more fun. But it's like Bayern and France I really want to look at. Oh, Germany and France, sorry. Look at that. Much more of a mixture. Yeah, you've got a couple of teams repeating. Colm, Wolfsburg, Mönchengladbach, I know. But different teams about. Schalke getting back up there in third. They'll all be playing Champions League. Over to France. Yeah. I mean, until Lyon recently, it's been Rennes and Monaco. Then them 3 teams have definitely took over. What about Scotland? That's an interesting one as well, isn't it? It's just a 2-horse race. It has been since Sir Alex Ferguson's Aberdeen days, which is a long time ago now. And they're the first team to win it. Dundee United, if my friend the Unflushable is watching, you're back. Check that out. But, you know, Hibs, Aberdeen, the other Dundee. You won't like that. St Mirren. I mean, Scotland could be a ton of fun to play on this. What about the Champions League? Well, Newcastle, they've got money now, haven't they? And with the Premier League all to themselves, apart from like maybe the Spurs and the Villas, they've dominated at home and they've dominated in Europe. They've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Champions Leagues in the last 10 years. Spurs have got a few. Villarreal got one. Aston Villa got another one. But I like it, and I like the runners-up as well. So it makes that more interesting. The Europa League. Yeah, good mixture, but there usually is, isn't there, in the Europa League. And of course the conference, which has only been running 2 years before this, Roma and West Ham winning it. But the likes of Norwich winning the European trophy and Fulham, 2 of them, I love that a lot. Girona as well, that team from Spain that's doing really well. That's cool. And this is quite interesting as well, maybe because the league reps dropped because they're not playing any actual European football. But Newcastle, because they're winning Champions League, are getting the points and getting more points, I'm guessing. So them and Spurs at the top of Villarreal. So all these Euro teams have dropped. So it does affect them on the world stage playing in this league. I mean, but in reality, it don't, because they're playing each other. They're the biggest clubs, the biggest fan bases, really. Going toe-to-toe all the time. But not playing any European football within the game affects the league rep and affects your club rep, obviously. And Ballon d'Ors. Can players not get Ballon d'Ors because they're not playing in Europe? I mean, Newcastle, it's just been Newcastle galore. And they've obviously bought him from Newcastle, got Saka from Arsenal. I mean, Newcastle have been on fire, haven't they? I'm going to have to run it again at some point just for my own fun and put Newcastle here and Spurs. I'd love to make it bigger, but then once you start getting into like a top league and a bottom league, I don't know, it's not really a European Super League. What, European Super League Division 1? It's not the same, is it? You have to cut off some point and make a choice at some point. But just show you though, you can go off in the Super League in this game. It's going to affect you in other areas of it, but as a bit of fun for a couple of seasons, you might really enjoy it. Especially if you're trying to build a team up. Forget about Ballon d'Ors, forget about your club rep. Just concentrate on the league you're in. So that is basically it. It's just a quick run through, a quick talk about it, show you how it is. I will put down below the start save file. I've got a 5-year save file and I'll put a 10-year save file down there if you fancy jumping in at a different point when the league's really kicking in. And just have a go with it. There'll be a graphics pack down there as well with all the competition graphics. Some of the kits you might not have, but I've downloaded kit packs. That's where all my kits are on. But all that stuff will be on. Just have a little go with it. You can kind of help me test it a little bit maybe. Because I did try as well. I'll talk about now the B teams. I scrapped all the B teams. They all had the same youth teams, but it won't work for me. It just kept crashing. It kept bringing up corrupt or... the only way I could get it to work is by just forgetting about youth and B teams, leaving them as they are. Some have got under 18, some have got under 19, some have a B team like Ajax and so on, because that's the only way it worked for me. But I do plan on putting this on Steam eventually, hopefully in the next week or two. I've just been working at it in bits and bits and bits. It got to a point here where it's pretty much done, and I thought, let's get a video out there. Let's at least some people have a go of it through a save file. You might just fancy a little something to do this weekend. So hopefully you do enjoy it, and let me know what you think. So there you go, that is it. Hopefully you've enjoyed that enough to hit the thumbs up, get involved in the comments. I really want to know what you think. Just remember, it's not real. It's just a bit of fun on a computer game, and I in no way at all want the European Super League to happen in real life. It's Football Manager. But subscribe if you're new, come join the family, check out my other content, hit that bell and you'll never miss anything I do. And hopefully you're watching my Curse and Ashes series, because I'm loving making that little absolute tiny small club from the Vanarama North in the north of England, trying to take them as high as possible with not a lot of money, but it's so much fun. That's where I love to be in Football Manager. But yeah, thank you as always for taking time out of your day to sit here with me and my face. Honestly, your time is appreciated. Your view is the most important thing. So you stay happy, you stay safe. I'm Bood. Bye-bye.